Everybody, welcome back. This is a tag video. I was tagged by Cherie from The Top Note. I'm going to leave a description to her channel here in this video. She's a new YouTube channel, and it'd be great to show your support and have a look at her videos. She tagged me for another version of 10 designer fragrances for life. Now, I actually did this video a couple of years ago, and I hadn't watched it for literally a couple of years, and I realized that there are only three perfumes from that video that are still in my 10 designer fragrances for life in this particular video. I'll very quickly give you my definition for this video, because if you want to be strict, I could have just said designers, where the fragrances I choose are from companies that do other things other than fragrances. However, technically that would have sort of left out companies like Guerlain, who kind of are strictly a perfume company, but they do other cosmetic products as well. I have left out private lines, privé lines, private blends, whatever you want to call them, that kind of price themselves out in terms of accessibility. And I also wanted to have brands here where you can find most of these bottles in department stores around the world. Now, strictly speaking, as an example, a brand like Comme des Garçons, they don't necessarily distribute very widely around the world in department stores. I know here they're not easy to find in department stores, so even though they're strictly a designer brand, theoretically a designer brand, by definition I haven't included them in this top 10. And for this video, I've only included fragrances that I actually own a bottle of. Okay, so I know that I've given myself some limits there, but I've got 10 designers for life, but they are my favorite designers as we speak at this very moment. But I'm going to include two honorable mentions that didn't make it in my top 10. Gucci Guilty Absolute, and Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. Okay, so let's start off. This is in no particular order. 10 fragrances. I don't want to make this a very long video. The three fragrances that made my original video, I'll start off with first. The wonderful, legendary Fahrenheit by Christian Dior. I'm not going to go into too much description. It's very, very well known. I had in my original video Christian Dior's Eau Sauvage Parfum, the original 2012 version, but given that that is not really in production anymore, I still love the Christian Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum. There we go. This is the 2017 version, a little bit brighter, more citruses. No myrrh like the original. There's a lemmy resin in this one here. There's a few more notes, and I find the dry down very similar to the original one, but this is just as complex, performs just as well, and probably a little bit more versatile. From the house of Guerlain, I still have the wonderful Heritage Eau de Toilette, spicy woods, patchouli, sandalwood, like one of my definitive classic masculine fragrances. From Guerlain again, the fourth fragrance here. This took a little bit to grow on me, but I really understand now why this is such a classic masculine from Guerlain. It is Habit Rouge Eau de Toilette. There we go. what I realized over the last couple of times I've worn this is how this scent has really come with me from my childhood. I'm positive now that there was an adult in somewhere in my extended family that wore this, because it's such an evocative scent from my childhood, not made up or anything. I definitely smelled this on one of the men in my extended family that I obviously spent enough time with to remember the smell. From the House of Aramis, this is still, in my experience, one of the best rose fragrances I've put my nose to. It's Calligraphy Rose by Aramis. And I have tested things like Portrait of a Lady, but this stuff, for the price point, it's such a beautiful jammy rose I get with incense. Not too spicy, I don't find. It is, you could classify it as a little bit sweet. It's a real Floriental as far as I'm concerned, but just the performance is out of this world. It smells wonderful. I really love this rose. It's not necessarily what I would consider a masculine rose. It's definitely really, really unisex. Okay, moving on to the next house. I was surprised to find that in my last list I didn't have any Chanels in there, but both of my favorite Chanels have made this list. They are, I'll talk about them in quick succession. I have reviews on these two. The wonderful leather woody Chypre, that is Antaeus, and the gorgeous spicy woody original Chanel Egoist. Now, Chanel are for me an interesting house in that these two, although I like them from the get-go, have kind of grown on me in that I have grown to really love these two fragrances. Moving on to the next fragrance, this one is from the House of Cartier, and another house really that I need to explore more, but my first love from Cartier is Declaration. There we go. From the House of Cartier, the original Jean-Claude Helena creation. Such a wonderful use of spice and citruses and woods in this one. I didn't like it the first time I smelled it on my skin, but again, this is one that kind of got into me, got under my skin, so to speak, and really after a couple of wears I had to have a bottle. Next one's from the House of Caron. I nearly included the classic Pour un Homme, but really I can't go past the beautiful Troisième Homme, or Third Man. I love that this is almost like this kind of beautiful combination of fougere, chypre. It's got citruses and clove and a gorgeous lavender heart in its development, and then all on this nice mossy base. And my final fragrance for this top 10 is from Hermès. It's actually the only full bottle of Hermès I own, but I love this from the very first time I sprayed it, and I know it's probably not one of the ones that have as big a following as, say, Bel Ami or even Bel Ami Vetiver or Equipage, or the original Equipage. This is Equipage Geranium. There we go. I love this because of its pure simplicity. Really, I don't get much more than a geranium note on top of some creamy woods, but it just goes to show how a beautiful scent doesn't need to have everything in the kitchen sink thrown into it. It's all about balance. It's all about balance and composition and just achieving what you want with the right ingredients. It's simple, but it just smells beautiful. And I'm so happy I have this bottle of Equipage Geranium in my collection. They're my top 10 designers for life for now, for 2020. I hope you are all staying safe. Really, for the first time in my whole life, there's never been a time like this where we literally are all in this together and we all are sharing a common experience, no matter what walk of life you are in. I talk to you because we have a common love of fragrance, but honestly, I hope you're all doing the right thing, thinking about your own safety, your loved ones, but acting in a way that really helps the whole world. It did take me a while to really take this as seriously as I take this now, but I think once you start to think of the fact that we are all connected, it makes it easier for you to know what the right thing is to do. Please stay well. I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. Hope you enjoyed that list. I know I'll waffle on a little bit, but I am thinking about all of you. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.